Hey there, good morning everybody. Sorry. I hope everybody's doing well and welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're back here on day 27. Let me get it right. 27, of those great bands with two or more lead vocalists. Now, initially this band had three vocalists. But I don't know the first guy that well, so I decided not to include him on this. Because in order to talk about somebody, you got to know him a little bit. You have to listen to him a little bit. I've been listening to the two recent albums I've gotten by them, but for basic purposes, we're going to go with the two vocalists who are absolutely stellar. Both of these guys are absolutely stellar. But before we get into that, a little bit of a description about what we're doing here. So we have, for the month of July, 31 days in July, I've chose 31 bands with those great bands with those two lead or more vocalists. So not guys that do like one song every once in a while, or may have done one song for the band like Bill Ward did on Never Say Die, which may have been just because Ozzy was tired of singing, we don't even know. But it's more or less for those bands with, those two vocalists. Maybe they're both dominant, or maybe you've got three guys who are doing the dominant part, or maybe you've got to spread out over five guys. I've had as many as five in this list so far. But this goes back as yesterday's BTO one. This is another band with two lead vocalists who are stellar, both of them, for different reasons. And of course we're talking about Supertramp. And this was the album that started it for me, and as it did for many. I just absolutely adore this album. I love it. And the vocals on here are just, I think, the best of all of their albums. And that's saying a lot, because they have like some really, really good albums. In fact, I don't think they have any bad albums. In my opinion, they don't really have any bad albums. And you've got two fantastic vocalists here, both of them doing lead parts regularly with the group. I'm going to put this over this way so you can see it more. Both of them been with the band since its inception, I believe. Maybe Hodgson wasn't, but I think he was. I just think that the other vocalist was doing more stuff early on. But once these two took over the vocal parts, the group soared. And I don't know why they soared, but definitely those two vocal parts were very strong. So you got Rick Davies, or Rick Davis is his way it's spelled, but that's how people pronounce it, Davies, but he says it's Davis, so I will go with what he says since it's his name and he knows what it is. We seem to be having these lately. Anyways, Rick Davis, keyboardist, piano player extraordinaire, both really talented. He's really talented on that stuff, and he has one of those great kind of bluesy voices that can just bring so much emotion to music. Like, he just brings it right out of the song, right out with his vocals, and sings some of the great more, I think he sings more of the deeper cuts, but they tend to be the songs that I remember the most for some reason. I'm not sure why, but he just has such a fantastic vocal. And to be honest with you, initially I just thought he was okay, and I thought this band was Hodgson altogether. But then over time, I've grown to really appreciate his vocals, especially after Hodgson left, and I've seen how much greater he became. And the music was so good after that. Like, all that progressive stuff was fantastic. Anyways, he's so good, so much emotion, so like in a different range than Hodgson, and just like so classic. Then of course you have Roger Hodgson, one of the great vocalists of his time. A lot of the big hits they had were his voice. He's got that kind of really high, kind of falsetto sound to his voice, but so good and so memorable. You almost know immediately on the radio, if you hear a Supertramp song, that it's Supertramp, because of his so strong falsetto voice that he has, and singing such wonderful like pop classics and memorable, well put together song. He's such a good piano player and guitar player as well. This band is prolific with great instruments, of those guys with instrumentation that's just beyond a lot of other bands. and so well put together tracks, so memorable. Every track on this album is pretty memorable. There's at least a half dozen on here who are just among my favorite songs to sing. And the reason I put this band so high is for the reason I put a lot of bands so high, is because if I find myself singing their songs all together, they've caught me. And I do that, especially with some of the stuff on this album, just unbelievable. Lord Is It Mine, one of my favorite tunes. Just such a great voice from Roger Hodgson. So there you have it, those great bands with two or more vocalists. Two great ones here, Rick Davies, I almost say Ray, Rick Davies and Roger Hodgson. Fantastic. So if you like this, please like below, subscribe on the side, and we'll be back again tomorrow with another in the series. So take care, have a good night, goodbye.